Hello everybody, SJM here, back in Star Technology. I've got a second, third, and oops, I'm going the wrong way. Fourth blast furnace up here now, so I've got lots of steel cooking up because we are going to need it, not immediately, but not in the not too distant future when we start building a whole bunch of low voltage machines, which should be next episode. Fingers crossed everything goes good. But between episodes, I have been a busy little beaver. Over here, got the new little create shop set up. So we've got a soul campfire there for haunting, which I used to make some black stone so that I could get some lead, because we needed lead to make an aqueous accumulator, which I've got over there. We'll show that. And then I daisied up these fans with cogs. So obviously the middle one runs backwards, so the air sucks in instead of blows out. So that means you have to have your source over here and it comes in this way. And I've already run through this lava one time and killed myself, so that is a thing. Then a washing set up here because I did a bunch of glass also off camera, so that we've got a good amount of glass ready to go. Also keeping on with the gravel production. As you can see, we got 2,300 sitting in there now. And I can use this forge hammer to turn it into sand and sand into dust as well, just while we're not really doing anything with these steam machines. There is a bit of a net loss using the forge hammer, but not with this macerator over there, which I used to make all the coke bricks for that. So the aqueous accumulator that I made down there did require the lead, which we got from the sieving the crushed black stone. So that's how we got that there. So just have a water source on each side of the aqueous accumulator, and it will provide water for recipes. So this keeps it topped up with water there. Then I have the outputs coming out of there into a barrel now, so that we can mix and match our different crushed ores in there as we're going, so that we don't have to always come over here and empty this out every time a new crushed ore starts processing. And eventually I'll hook this up into the colossal chest so that the outputs are going there automatically. Down here is where the bulk of the work I did between episodes. I added a fifth water wheel on here because I ran out of stress units. But the major things that we did, I have some automated sieving going on. So I just have all of my sieves here with a deployer pointing down into it. And then I've got two chutes and a drawer on top of it, so whenever I notice whenever it's empty, which I think it is now, because I don't see anything in the hand, I come over here. I think I need to do some dust, so that happens more often than I care to admit. Now I have to come back down here and grab my torches out of the hand. That is, that's there. So what we have down here is a basic item collector with some tin item pipes down there. And the item collector, I've got the range shown on it here. So it basically, I had it set to exactly the size of the sieves, but some of the outputs come flying out like a little bit further. So I extended it out so that that collector can grab everything there. So the recipes here aren't too bad, just some steel plates. So we had to put our steel into the forge hammer to get steel plates, and an ender pearl gets us the basic item collector. There's also an advanced item collector, but we don't need that for now. So And obviously we don't have black bronze at this stage either, so just has a bigger range, and you can do filtering with the advanced item collector, whereas the regular item collectors does not have any filtering. We can turn that range off so that box isn't glowing anymore. The big pain in my butt thing that I did was to set up a couple of farms. So in the quest line here, the two large farms that I set up were from this thing here, because we needed to get going on biodiesel, which is down here, this quest here. So this is going to be our main source of stress units moving forward. There's three different options here. So we have the regular diesel engine, which looks like this, a flint and steel block of brass. So we're going to go through a lot of brass here right quick. Some engine pistons, which are fairly simple, just an iron rod and some zinc nuggets. And then polished blackstone slabs, so we needed the haunting setup to get some blackstone that way anyways. And then fluid tanks, which are just 2 copper plates and a barrel. And then we can upgrade the diesel engine to the modular one, just by adding a couple of brass plates, another blackstone slab, and some more andesite alloy. They're exactly the same, right? 21.33 RPM and 2048 stress units each. The difference is with the modular ones, you don't have to have a diesel input for every engine itself. So we can have them hooked up in a row like this, and they're all able to run off of you just need to use your wrench on them. See, that one would be separate, and that one would be separate, so I would need a pipe for each of those. But with these set up like this, we just need one pipe, and it will feed all of them that are hooked up together. The last option that is in there is much more powerful. Oh. Where is it? Where did I lose it? Which is the huge diesel engine. This provides a lot more than what it says there. Unless I missed something. But this is a lot more involved craft, right? We need a steam engine first of all, and then other bits and bobs on top of it to make it. But the big downside with the huge diesel engine, it provides more stress. I'm sure it does. I think the tooltip is wrong, or they've changed something between an older tutorial that I saw in this pack. I'm not sure. But this huge diesel engine cannot be silenced, whereas the diesel engine in the modular one can be. So I have in here in my inventory the engine silencers, which we can put on these guys, and I'll hook these up in a minute, because they're going to take out all of these water wheels and get the diesel engines running my stress here after we go over the setup here, because this was took quite a bit of time. I spent definitely a couple of hours figuring out how to get this all to work together. So we've got the 2 farms, like I mentioned. They're the multi-blocks. Where's the farm? Multi-blocks involve 20 treated wood frames, 13 wood planks, 8 farmland, and then input and output buses. With the ULV buses, they only have 1 input or output. So if a recipe has more than 1 output, you would need to have 2 output buses hooked up, otherwise the machine won't work properly. But the basic structure, the structure is pretty basic. You do need the water block in the middle there, and then just till up some farmland around there. The only disappointment is that we don't get to see the crops actually growing in there. But in this one, in your input bus, you just put what you want to grow. So this one I am doing sugarcane. And sugarcane is providing me with bone meal and ethanol. Because to get to biodiesel, we need to mix together plant oil and ethanol. So there's a few different ways we can get ethanol. And, oh, I've clicked on the wrong ethanol. We want the create diesel generators ethanol. Is done in a basin. So you need the regular basin and a basin lid. The basin lid requires the clock, which is where we needed the kinetic machine before to get the gold to get the clock before we could start on this. So, and this process is quite slow, so I've got 2 basins set up here for now, and we'll see if I need to get more later when, because I haven't hooked any of this up, so I need to see how this all works. I've got a 2x2x2 fluid container here, so we've got 64 buckets of biodiesel in there backed up already to get going to see if I've got a net won or lost. So the other component to the biodiesel is plant oil. There's a good ton of recipes in here, which is basically just seeds. So you want to put the seeds into the basin and then squash it with a press, and that gets you plant oil. This process is pretty quick, especially with these farms, because you put your pumpkins, you put your seeds in there 8 at a time, and you get out a certain amount over there. With this, I chose pumpkin just because I had the pumpkin seeds around, and I didn't have the ideal crop to grow in here, which would be the thermal cultivation tomato plants. So you can get these by punching grass, but I've eliminated all of the grass in my base for right now, save for a couple of pieces, and I didn't feel like bone milling the heck out of it hoping to get these. But if you have a sizable piece of grass, you can just go and bone meal some grass up and punch them around and get these, because these are much better. So these in the farm just produce the tomato seeds themselves with a 50% chance to get a second output, right? So you would even get to skip this mechanical crafter step, which is we have to use when we're doing the pumpkins, because the pumpkins come out and then we've got to craft them back into the seeds. And then the biggest hiccup, the reason why this was such a pain and took me a while to put together, is that I couldn't get the output out of this mechanical crafter, and ended up one of the Greg Tech item pipes actually worked there. So that was my solution to get that there, just making sure that we've got the output going up that way there. And yeah, these are all on, and everything's just all backed up at this point. And hooking up this this piece here was a little bit of a trick as well, but ended up getting there with these encased chain drives without having to do anything too completely horrendously ugly. Ended up stepping it up a notch as well over there just to make this process a little bit faster, but should be all good at the end of the day. We'll come back to this in a minute, but we'll talk about that other quest line that was above the coke oven, and that was the large barrel. So in here we're going to be getting our resin from shiitake spores. And the way to get more shiitake spores, aside from sieving dirt, which, you know, we don't need all of this other stuff here. Like maybe we could use some of the sugar cane. Maybe we could use these other stuff for bone meal, but there's a whole bunch of garbage in here that we don't need, like, you know, the pebbles, all that stuff. But the barrel transformation recipe in here, we just need some witch water and 1 spore, which doesn't get consumed. That's what the NC means there. So 100 millibuckets of witch water gives us a 95% chance to get a spore. Now, we did witch water before upstairs with barrels on top of mycelium, but there is another way to get witch water, and that is with another barrel. So we use mycelium spores and combine it with water, and that will get us witch water over there. Now, did I forget to grab? No, I've got all of my outputs here ready to go. So let's finish off this setup here. So I do need the controller blocks. So let's get the controllers set in there. So we're going to need an input. So that's going to be an input hatch, one of these guys. This is the only thing I'm not 100% sure on is, does the aqueous accumulator allow to pull from the bottom of it? Looks like it's going to work, actually. Yep, water's going in there now, and then we need an input bus somewhere. Why do I have an output bus? I need an input bus. That's a hatch. And this can go anywhere as well. And this is where we're going to put our mycelium spores. And I think I need what am I missing? And now I'm all nervous. Let me sort this out and we'll get this working first so that we can back up on some witch water here. Alright, it was because I didn't have the output hatch on. Why do you keep facing the wrong way? It's like the 4th time I've been trying to get this to hook up properly. There we go. I guess we'll do it here. I won't be able to walk underneath is the only thing. Now it's working and we're getting witch water. So on the second barrel, we need an input hatch here. Now we have witch water coming in there, and then an input. I missed all of the input buses. Completely. At this spot here, I want the output bus, because I may as well output right in back up into that barrel there. The input bus can go anywhere. Now we have Slitaki spores automatically coming in. And witch water. So that'll give us the source of resin, because we just have to cook up those spores into slime balls and then cook it again in to get resin, which we're going to need for our circuits in the next episode. So now let's get to tearing out all of our water wheels and hooking up the diesel generators. So I'll put it on a quick pause and we'll be back to test it out live. I guess the other thing that I wanted to get is a speed controller. So let's take a look. Rotation speed controller. Brass casings and precision mechanisms. Usually the precision mechanisms are a real big pain, but in this pack, they are not. Not in the slightest. Iron nuggets, cog wheels, and a gold plate. And the gold plate we can do on the press, so that's not a problem at all. I have a visitor over here. Usually that just means free leather, but not sure what's going on there. How are we doing on that? Get some iron cooking up over here. So that I can get steel back going again. All right, so yeah, I'm going to make up all the items that we need, and I'll be back to do the setup with y'all. I think I've got everything set to go here. Just leave this on the initial setup of 16, but with the speed controller, you need to add a large cog wheel on there, so that's what'll speed up. But if we hook up this we're going to get a real horrible sound, which is why we have engine silencers. Other than that, you'd probably have to take that setup and put it way far away where you would never ever have to hear it again. Let's just pop back up here. So this is actually working still, that's good. I don't have anything in there for it to work on. Ah, the mixer does not have enough speed. So, come out here, crouch, and just right click and hold, and then we can bump this up to 24. Nope, 24 is not enough. $32. How's 32 sound? There we go. Because the faster I have that going, then the more stress units this is going to consume. So I'm trying to keep that down a little bit for now. We could always add in more of these speed controllers on different points here to make to individualize different areas. But just wanted to make sure that everything is going properly. There, so now we've completely switched over to biodiesel. And we're going to give that a few minutes to run, so to see how that goes. And then the plan after that is to extend this over here. We'll end up over here somewhere is where we'll set up for our create new age electrical power production. So I think that's in the start of the next chapter. So after we get our electronic circuits, then it's going to tell us how to generate power with the carbon brushes and the generator coil. We're going to probably do all this in the next episode, seeing as how we're almost out of time for this one. We might even cut this one a little bit short of the normal 30 minutes that I go over, but look at that. We've got 4 stacks of spores up there already, good to go. Always take those over. Oh. Don't jump in the lava. Let those cook up. Got lots of steel. The only thing that I am a little bit behind on at this point is the charcoal to keep up on the steel. There, do I have another stack of logs to keep it going over here? The one thing I did fall behind on while I was running around doing all the other things, and especially trying to figure out the farms and getting the biodiesel up and going, that was a big hiccup in my plans there. There we go. Make sure that we keep the steel running, and I think this. Yeah, we still got iron ore coming in over there. I'm keeping a lot of this in the dust form for now because there are certain things that we can do with the dust. So I guess Invar is the next thing that we're looking at. Is there anything that we can do with this that doesn't require power? No. I guess now that we're looking at these, I should mention, aside from the shaders that we activated, it didn't have to install any. The pack already has a bunch of shader options in here for us already. I just turned them on. I'm using the complementary reimagined ones. These are pretty reliable and don't cause too much lag for me at any rate. But I also added a resource pack in here, which was 3-folds modern GregTech. So a lot of the machines and components are reskinned with that. Not the bronze steam machines here, but when we were looking at the Invar with the other things, we could see that, alloy smelter, arc furnace, all of these, they've got a different skin than the normal modern GregTech things. So if you're wondering about that, that's what happened there. It looks like to make the Invar, we do need the actual ingots. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Nickel. Cook up a little bit of nickel, I guess. Might as well keep a few slime balls in my inventory as well. Oh, and then I guess the other little optimization thing that I figured out, because we get all of these sticks from manually chopping down all of these trees, which I really should just make a create tree farm for it, and then even automate it going to cook up into charcoal at this point. Just been caught up doing other things, trying to progress, I guess. if we use sticks in the burner there, then we don't have to worry as much about wasting. Did I put my Invar back down? Is it right in front of my face and I can't see it? Did I just burn my Invar? Got the sticky resin. I guess I burned it up. Oh, not Invar, nickel. That was an oopsie. I think that's the first time I've deleted a whole bunch of stuff like that. Not a big deal, but anyways, 2 iron plus 1 nickel goes into the heated mixer to get us Invar. Do that. Light it up while it's mixing up there, then when it finishes mixing, we can just grab out all of the sticks and it'll, be pretty close to exactly how much fuel we needed to exactly do smaller recipes, right? Rather than putting a whole piece of charcoal in there at a time, you can use any kind of burnable in there, even creosote, which I never actually tried because I never actually did any recipes that big in there. Now we're up to 24 Invar already, so that's pretty good. The Invar will get us through that quest there, going towards soul-infused wires to hook up to our LV converter. There we go. So we only barely spent 20 sticks to get that Invar going there. So that's that other quest line out of the way there now. So I do need to make some more inventory cables. I think if I do a hopper out of this barrel and we run it into another interface in the chest, then that will automate this guy here. And I think I mentioned and totally forgot to do it. I cannot access that from there. Do this, then we won't get backed up on 4 stacks of the Slataki. So now we've got that a little bit more automated because we will need a lot of that resin at the end of the day, because it's used in quite a different number of places getting to this electronic circuit. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode there. So yeah, next episode we'll knock out these recipes, probably these recipes. That will finish everything except for the large stone barrel, which I don't really need right now. A steam engine. The crushing wheels, just don't need those right at this moment, so I've not done them at this point. I guess I've neglected to show the recipe for the encased fan, or the encased chain drive, which I used, is pretty simple, and these can be really handy. So if I didn't want my directions switching on me over here in this setup, I could have used encased chain drives across there instead of the wheels. I just went with the slightly cheaper recipe, I guess, and I didn't mind it going backwards. So that was one thing there. And then the recipe for the deployer and the mechanical crafter did require these electron tubes, which was polished rose quartz, which this is usually the trickier one to figure it out. But you make some sandpaper and you put that in your offhand and you hold this rose quartz, which is just a recipe like this, in your main hand, and you just hold right click and that will polish it from the rose quartz into the polished rose quartz, which we need for the mechanical crafters and for the deployers as well. So that was that one other tricky thing I wanted to touch on there. And then I haven't bothered with any of these ULV hatches. I will replace some of the LV ones that I've used in some of the multi-blocks when we get cheaper versions for the wires. And just all of this red alloy cable takes up a ton of redstone, which I don't have right now just yet. So I've avoided going with any of these ULV things or making anything with their red alloy cable as yet till we get a wire mill, because it's just too expensive in this stages right now, whereas we can get 2 alloy cables per ingot once we get the wire mill, once we have some power going in the electricity. So that's enough of my rambling here for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. Oh yeah, we forgot about the goggles that I got in my slot there, just so that I can see stress units and all of that stuff in there, and which is a pretty easy recipe. Just a copper plate, 2 glass, and a string, and you got a bobble slot for it, so it doesn't even take up an armor slot on you. Anyways, that'll wrap it up for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. I appreciate you for checking it out, and we can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.